Hey, what's up? This is Dilio coming to you live with another keyboard review. And this time I'm not doing a plugin. I'm not doing software. We're actually going back into the real world with hardware. And what we have right here is a customized Rhodes 88 keyboard right here. And I'm here with the proprietor of it, Jay Clay from Music from the Heart, coming to you live. And, we're just going to talk about it and listen to it in this video and go from there. All right, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Good
cool,
to see you
doing
again.
good, man. Yeah, we're here with this keyboard. I appreciate you allowing me to come through and check out one of the units from your collection, man. This is the Fender Rhodes 88. It has its own custom color. Is there like a name for this color?
This is kind of like a custom copper finish.
So how did you get your hands on this Rhodes, and is there a story behind it?
Yeah, there actually is a story behind this. I got this 88 Fender Rhodes from a guy named Franklin Hughes. He bought it back in 1974 at a little place called Arcadia, Louisiana. He was 18 at the time. Him and his mother traveled there, and then they actually financed this keyboard through First National Bank. I believe he said maybe $800. It came with a twin verb amp and everything.
Yeah.
The way I got my hands on it, I had met Franklin through Facebook Marketplace, and he was selling a keyboard stand. And then I was being nosy as I was looking around. I said, "Oh, what do you have in your garage?"
Yeah.
And he showed me around, and then he said, "I want to show you something else." And so he had this custom Fender Rhodes in his house upstairs. Had not been moved, and he had it for over 50 years. So I never thought that he would sell it to me. But looking back, I didn't know that relationship was going to eventually lead to me buying this from him a few months later.
This was a time before like the keyboard workstations and
before there was any of those synthesizers. This is one of the first electric pianos they had out. The only other one was probably the Wurlitzer that had the same notoriety and popularity.
Right. Yeah. So what year model is this? Is this that you're aware of?
This 88 is one of the popular years, which is 1973.
Oh, shoot, okay.
And this is before Fender sold the company off.
Gotcha.
So after I believe 75 or 74, you don't see the Fender Rhodes on there. You just see straight Rhodes.
Gotcha.
Well, there's two Fender Rhodes. There's one is an 88, which stands for 88 keys.
Right.
And then there's another one they have called a suitcase.
Right.
73. That means it has 73 keys, and it also has a speaker that comes with it.
Did you do any modifications to this, or the guy who you bought it from, did he do some modifications?
He did tons of modifications to this.
Yeah.
If you notice that this has a top shelf that he custom built. He's a woodworker carpenter.
Okay.
And he made this custom case to fit over the top.
Oh, okay.
So this was not part of the keyboard.
And that's on a hinge.
And it's on a hinge.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you drop it down. And I guess this is good for if you have some papers or a laptop or something you want. Also, these knobs were switched out with Vintage 5 knobs.
Okay, Vintage 5. Okay.
Yeah, Vintage 5. And he added where you can add a suitcase, another speaker.
Right.
To this keyboard. Before there was just no speaker. You'd have to jack.
Yeah.
You'd have to hook it up yourself. Then these are different effects that are on this one that may not be on the first one. The first edition. This was a vibrato.
Yeah.
There's a speed intensity. So if I play the vibrato, just play it regularly.
Right.
Regular. And then I can add vibrato.
True.
Okay. And then he added some more plugs on the side of the keyboard to give it a stereo sound, a left and a right.
Right.
Whereas before it was just one jack.
So what's the maintenance like on one of these units?
Oh, these things, you better know what you're doing because there's a lot of keys, a lot of parts in this one. They're not as simple as a Wurlitzer electric piano.
Right.
You've got tines inside.
Yeah.
If you play too hard, you can, eventually those things will break.
Okay.
This particular model, they were built out of wood. And then in later years, they built them out of plastic.
Gotcha.
So that's why these are more desirable.
True.
The wood are a little bit more stable.
And so if anybody wants to buy one of these instead of like a vintage one, not like buy a new MK8 or want to buy an older one like this, what are some things they should pay attention to know before they try to make a purchase like that?
Well, you need to look inside and you need to look at the tines and see if they're, in their good condition.
Right.
You're going to look for corrosion, any rust.
Right.
These things do not do well in humidity. You want to check out the electronics, the knobs. Those could be, old. The wires could be worn out.
Wow. Not only that, but like say the action and key bed too can vary from Rhodes to Rhodes.
Oh yeah, they're all different.
Right.
Each Rhodes has a different feel. The sound is similar, but you can tune these things to either have more of a bell sound like this one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or more of a mellow sound, depending on what type of music you're playing.
True that. What do you think makes the Rhodes sound so special compared to other keyboards?
What I really think is the tines, the electromagnetic forces that give it that kind of warm sound.
Yeah.
Also, it has the properties of a real acoustic piano, so you kind of feel the rhythmic action through the hammers inside. I would just say that some of the best music was made on the Rhodes in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it just has that true warm analog sound.
Right.
And when you add effects on it, the possibilities are endless.
So what type of music do you think shines best on a Rhodes from your perspective?
Oh, definitely R&B.
Gotcha. Yeah.
R&B.
True that.
I would say that. What would you say?
I'm partial to R&B, neo soul. I grew up on late 90s, early 2000s neo soul.
Yeah.
And so when I was introduced to those songs like the early D'Angelo or early Erykah Badu, Chico LaBarge and stuff like that, I always heard that sound. And it was familiar. Even the Jill Scott, Words and Sounds Volume 1, even Floetry first stuff, that's sort of like my pocket of influences I like. And so for me, neo soul and that sound was just synonymous with it. Who influenced your love for the Rhodes? I know we've talked in the past because we know each other in real life that you've collected the Rhodes. But what influenced your love for the Rhodes? Was it other musicians? Do you see it out on the scene?
Yeah, other musicians. I know my first Rhodes I got from a keyboardist in Atlanta named Musiki Scales.
Okay.
And he had played with Roy Ayers and a lot of prominent people in town.
Okay.
And he would just tell me all the stories about him lugging this Rhodes around. That was the only instrument he would play.
Yeah.
And I said, this thing has to be special if somebody's just taking it everywhere.
Yeah.
But he had maybe 10 to 12 Fender Rhodes just, kind of sitting around. He sold me one, and then I just kind of fell in love with the instrument.
Right.
And then all the sounds from, my records that I listened to.
Yeah.
Like Miles Davis, Chick Corea.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder. Those guys. I mean, their entire music is built around the Rhodes.
So here's an interesting question. If you could only keep one keyboard, would it be this or a Rhodes or another type of keyboard? If you only could have one.
If I could only have one. You're talking about somebody with a lot of keyboards.
Right, yeah.
That's a hard question.
That's a tough question.
Yeah, I would go with the Rhodes.
The Rhodes? Okay.
Yeah.
With the Rhodes, what was your first impression the first time you played one? What was your first impression? If you could think back the first time you actually played a physical Rhodes, what was that like for you?
First time I played it in college.
Oh wow.
I could just kind of feel just something just vibrated in my soul.
I got you.
It just felt, I could just feel a certain energy of warmth and it felt very soulful.
Right.
It was just indescribable because what I was playing was actually matching what my ears wanted to hear,
Yeah.
Sometimes you play like, I know it should sound better than this and it might be the instrument,
Right.
But it's like my hands and my ears and everything was just all working the way I felt like they should.